soha. Toje gun la nyomba jumden de tenzama töbe ngendu dunge sin. Tosoma ne sin sangye mengi la bendu ya yugi jawu la cha te lo. Okay, Tashi Delek to all my dear friends again. Now I'm here fighting for the third time. This will be my third session. In my previous two, I talked one in the first general information about the concept of Tibetan medicine and what's the influence of where in Tibetan medicines are influenced. In the second, I talked about the human conception, achievement of human precious life, and the relation between body and mind, and about the importance of the five rLung and their role in the physical and psychological functioning, something like that. Yeah. So I try to do it briefly. Now today I'm going to speak a little bit about what are the general causes of the rLung problem, which will create physical and psychological problem. So now this is quite important to understand, because if we don't understand the causes of the problem, then it's rather difficult to make a preventive care or even to overcome the problems. So through recognizing the root cause or all the different causes that disturbs the three energy, and particularly what we call the rLung, and then there's a possibility to prevent or to help to overcome the disturbances. Okay, so now in Tibetan medicine, as I said, the relation between rLung and the wind and the mind, and between the body. So these are three. So the relation between mind and body is linked or is connected, is based on the rLung problem, and particularly this one rLung which is called life-sustaining wind, Soksin rLung. Now, first to know the imbalance or the disturbance of the rLung, we have to know a little bit about, the nature of the rLung that we explained before. rLung is very, very light and fragile, unstable, mobile, and it's also called rough. So these are the quality of rLung, the nature of rLung. So meaning is rLung is so light that it can move anytime. Okay, so then this rLung is connected with your mind, and mind has the same quality, same nature, very unstable, very fragile, mobile, impossible to control your mind to be in the present because thoughts moves everywhere. So these are called unstable. So anyhow, these two had a similar nature or characteristic, and this now in Tibetan medicine called rLung Sem Tamo, the very subtle consciousness, the mind, and the subtle rLung, very, very subtle rLung, which is called Sokten rLung. And this, as I explained before, they travel together from the past life. Okay, so now all the problems related with the physical and mentally, they are divided into two categories. Not the temperature. Temperature is different. You have hot temperature and cold temperature, or we say hot nature disease and cold nature disease. So that will relate it more with the physiological the disease. Okay. Now here all the three energy, what we call the rLung, the Tipa, which is the fire nature, and the Pekin, which is the cold nature. So these three energies should be always balanced functioning. We say Nyabasum, the three energy, you can say three energy, which should be balanced all the time. And balance meaning is only should be there necessary for your physical and psychological necessities for functioning properly. Okay, so that's called balance. Now, once if they became imbalanced due to different reasons related with the different causes that disturbs these three energy, and then they became imbalanced. So what does imbalance? Either it goes increase, we say pelva. When the energies increase more than what is essential for normal necessity for the physical energy or functioning, that's called pelva. To become too much or more than what is necessary. And sepa means decrease from the level which is necessary for our body functioning or mental activities. Okay, so fail means increase and decrease. So these are the main causes of making all the problems. So now we will talk a little bit about not the other two. We cannot have much time, as I said. Now here we talk about still the continuation of how the lung will influence in the physiological system and the psychological energy. Okay, so now lung's nature is subtle. Now this one thing you have to remember, or you have to recognize, you have to understand. If it's interesting for you, makes sense for you. Lung is like air in the external wind, air. Now, what is the function of this air? We need air, like oxygen and normal. It's very essential in the life. But if you have a strong or too much the air or wind, then it makes a problem. Doesn't call that it's important to have, but if it's more than what is necessary, then it disturbs or it creates problem. Now, in case the wind is too low, then again, if there's no oxygen, for example, insufficient oxygen, then again there's a problem. So that's called increase and decrease. Now, another thing is the nature of the lung is a subtle, it's a mobile. So, in the external world, you can, this example in comparison, in the external world, normal world, if there is a hot weather or hot climate, and if the windy blow, you can feel more hot. If the climate is cold, weather is cold, if there's a windy weather or if it's a windy, too much wind blowing, then it makes more cold. So that meaning is wind, uncontrolled wind or increased lung wind will support to make any of these two temperature more worse, more powerful than is a normal. Okay, so similarly, I give another example. You have a smoking cigarette fire that you don't put off the fire, and you throw these cigarettes after smoking in the forest where there's a dry grass or like. So with this little fire, supported by the air or the wind, and then it grows, makes it more bigger, and it creates the small fire, a huge fire, and that will burn the whole forest. Or even in the home, with a little fire, if you don't control, and in case they touch to something, that will develop more. And then what makes it more problem is the air, the wind that support to increase the fire. So this kind of increasement of the fire can become a rampage of fire, can destroy everything, and we know that. Now, in case there's a climate is very cold, like in Tibet, snowing below zero, I don't know how many degrees. In case there's a windy weather, if the wind blowing in such a high altitude with such a low temperature below zero, people can get even frozen. We have a lot of stories that even many animals die because of too cold. But caution is not the snow and the cold climate only. The man that kills the people is the wind. And it makes so cold, so cold. So similar in our body, if our wind, the lung, is not a well-controlled or well-balanced, then if you have some problem with the chiba, which is called bile in English general language, which they translate, but actually it means the hot energy or the fire nature. So if someone has a problem with the fire nature that includes like a fever or infection, then this lung will, if uncontrolled lung, will support this kind of infection fever to get more aggressive and more powerful, like the small fire supported by the air or wind in the external world. Similarly, if you have too much cold energy in your body, dominated by the cold energy, and the wind can also make that kind of cold more cold. More cold means all the circulation metabolism system will be getting more colder. So that means it will block, make all the weak circulation or block the circulation. So these are basic, the influence of the lung. Either it support too much, to develop too much, more problem. But it's also, as I said, oxygen is necessary, air is necessary. So we need the lung. You know, these 5 lung. It's essential to have those. But if the lung is increased too much, then it's not very good. Now, occasionally, sometimes that your lung becomes below the level of necessary capacity or level, then everything will again malfunction. So these things you have to understand in Tibetan medicine, how important the lung plays role. And other two also, if you have too much fire, it will destroy you. If there's less fire, means the chiba, it will also make a lot of problem. And on the other side, you have too much cold dominated energy with the water like that, it's a problem. The cold energy nature, the whole system is cold, nothing will function properly. And in case there's a decrease of what is the water level of energy necessary or earth elements capacity necessary, if they are decreased, again you get a problem. So these are, we say, all the problems are caused by increase and decrease. So that is a very important to understand. That's why we say Duwanyomba means you have to have a 3 energy balance. Not too much and not too much, and not too much or not to have a less than what is the necessary for proper function of all the systems, including the organs and also the psychology. Now, one example of the lung in the psychological, for example, what is meant by the increased lung? What makes the problem? Now, since you know that the lung is the basis of the mind, and mind, lung sem tamu, the subtle mind and subtle lung, they are always together. So, if your mind gets a sudden kind of emotional shock, panic, fear, then immediately the lung will disturb. As the mind gets disturbed, lung will get disturbed. So that moment, everything will move very fast, and that's we call increased lung, lung parva. Okay, lung pelva or parva means it jumps up suddenly, and that will cause a lot of other problems. So this is one example related with increase. And what are the symptoms? When your lung is increased, you get nervous, you get agitated, you become restless, you become peaceless. You you have a lot of symptoms that confuse mind, irregular palpitation, fast breathing. So these are all some kind of symptoms that your lung has becoming too much, overblowing, is kind of strong. Okay, so some can have a huge increase that can create a terrible psychological problem, and also it will impact very strongly on the physiological part, and that will give you a lot of different symptoms. Now, on certain occasions, that decreased lung, actually decreased lungs on the psychological level, people who have lost hope, people have lost self-confidence, people who have lost interest, everything they have seen negative, difficult, close-minded, at that moment your lung energy will decrease. Then people have no interest, no sense of doing anything, they want to be isolated. So these are symptoms of the lung decrease. So anyhow, it's a huge subject, so these are just few examples, okay? So now we'll talk a little bit about very basic information about what are the different factors that will make the lung and then influence to the body, okay? So from that you might get some basic idea about the influence of the lung to the physiological part. So first is the increase and decrease, you have to know. And the increment of the lung or decreasement of the lung will make impact on the fragile part of the chakra. Maybe if someone is a very emotional, fragile heart, then such kind of increased lung will immediately make influence on the heart. Some people can influence on the heart, and some people can influence on the throat. Some even in the metabolic digestive system, and some can get an impact impact on the descending wind, particularly for the women. For example, irregular menstruation, disturbing to the menstruation systems. Even to the male, for example, some young people, even young people, strong young men, physiologically, pathologically, everything's fine. Clinically, they are very fine, but the sexual activity they cannot perform. The reason maybe they are very much occupied with some mental problems. So if your mind has some kind of frustration, hatred, or worry and fear, then that kind of, sometimes it will influence to some sensitive organs. So for the male, when they have some difficulty in their life, the sexual organ will not function. So that means there's some influence. Because clinically, the pathologic, they have no any defect. But still the sexual organ does not function for having a proper quality of the sexual relationship. So these are kind of some influences that you can understand. So like that, any kind of increased lung or decreased lung will make an influence or effect on a particular chakra or organ which are more fragile or more sensitive. Okay, so now generally speaking, the main cause of the lung problem is our emotional mind. Now, emotional mind meaning is all the destructive emotions, and which I said in the heart chakra is the center of your mandala. So here in the heart chakra is the seeds of the word which we call I, or we say egocentric mind. So this I is a very powerfully dominating the whole system. And here we say the center of attachment. Egocentric means self-attachment, self-importance. So this I increases so much, and then it will develop too much attachment, too much desire, too much wishes, too much expectation, and everything, your emotional here, I want everything perfectly functioning without any failure to be a very successful achievement in everything what you wish or desire or expect. So that is the center, which the fundamental main cause of all the psychological, and that will influence a lot to the physical disease also. So this is the center, which we call it the center of your destructive emotion. Mainly is called the egocentric mind, and this egocentric mind develops what we call the limitless attachment. Your desire and your attachment wishes have no limit in every field. So you can imagine that how powerful this I is. It needs so much thing around you. Best economic, best physical level, best family condition, best professional job condition, best material life, everything you want. But unfortunately, our ignorant mind does not understand the reality. The reality is that all what you wish, all what you desire, first you must have the capacity to get everything what you want. But this we never check, or we never observe whether you have the right, all the potential capacity necessary to achieve all what your desire, wishes, and attachment. So this is the one thing that we call ignorant, stupid mind. You have expect too much, you wish too much, but you never check what is your actual capacity. Do you have this real capacity to get everything what you want? And now this ignorant mind is the cause of making, not to understand the truth and the reality of your nature of the human life. Human life nature meaning is that you wish too much, but the truth is that we don't get everything what we wish. So that's the really things that we don't really check. So once you don't understand the reality, because your mind became completely stupid or ignorant and deluded because of this powerful egocentric mind, the word I, my, and then our, my. So that's increasing. And I made one diagram that from here it arises enormous branches growing. And when you check that, you are very really how stupid we create so much unnecessary, too much problem. So this is the one. Now, once you don't achieve the things that you wish, you want, you expect, then the consequences of unsuccessful achievement of your wishes the result will be anger, hatred, jealousy, frustrations. When you develop these things, you become very impatient. So now you see, then this is how your lung will disrupt. And now if you get anger, means anger nature is a fire. So that means your fire nature will increase very much. So this is how the lung support, and immediately your body will act. Wow, come on, like that. So you become completely black out here, deluded mind, and that moment the lung will close everything, and you become your intellectual mind can completely get blocked, and you cannot control your mind, and this is how you create a lot of mistakes, even like a shooting or killing or whatever. So you see, these are the consequences of the mind that will influence the lung, and the lung will increase too much and block all the capacity of understanding, knowing the reality. So you see, if in case sometimes you say that you get angry, but sometimes when you don't achieve that, then again you lose a hope. Oh, now I cannot do it. So you give up hope. You give up your confidence, then your interest. And this is how people will decrease their mental capacity, decreasing their all interest, and the power to strength to fight or deal with the difficulty will go down. So that is another kind of a decree. So all these things are related with the um, unsuccess in achieving what you expect or what you desire from your word I, the egocentric mind. So that is the root cause. And if you can see clearly, I will send you the diagram, how it increased the branches. Now, it is always not the same to everybody. Some people have more impact by certain mental emotion, some have less, depend on your nature, by your people's, what we call the characteristic of person by the birth. So some people can have a certain shock very easily, they get nervous, agitated. Some people have less. Some people, they don't express the feeling, they keep everything inside, but it's not called a patience. They block everything inside. So there are different types of lung problem which are amazing play a role in our health. Okay, so these are some influences. So anyhow, shock, panic, shock, panic, frustration, anger, hatred, jealousy, impatience. This is a horrible destructive quality that will destroy your life or make your life very unhappy and very without any peace, without any harmony. And this limitless desire and expectation or attachment is the cause of making you restless, peaceless. You cannot have a time to rest, you don't have enough time to enjoy the life, you have no peace, and then your mind constantly moving and thinking on the topic that you are unhappy. Whether it can be anger, the topic of the subject of the anger, then your thoughts goes with the anger of that particular subject. If you are frustrated, it goes to that reason. So you see, it's a huge subject. Very interesting if you really observe. And then once you recognize that, I talked yesterday, I don't know, last time, touching the fire, feeling the pain, or just saying fire will destroy. This is different. So if you understand all this reality, what I talked to you about, which destroys all your life, like fire destroys everything within a short time. When the fire catches, a building catches fire, it's very difficult to control. Within a short time, it'll burn everything. But to construct the building, it takes such a long time. Even in the forest, to cultivate the tree and the plants, you have needs of hundreds of years, but the fire can destroy in a short time. So similarly, all your constructive energy or constructed good things in your life can destroy within a short time by your uncontrolled anger or hatred or jealousy. So these are something basic, we all know it, but only thing, knowing and understanding is different, or to recognize it. We all know that anger is not good, but people get angry. So as I said, that means you don't. But now to recognize that, and you really should understand it, and you have to practically feel that it destroys your life, then there's a way to stop those, reduce that, Now I don't mean that you have to detach, what we say in the Buddhism, detach the ja. Detach is absolutely difficult, to detach everything in the world, not have attachment with material life, with your family life, with your physical life, everything is different. But we should try our best to make a less involvement in those subjects. More you are involved in that, means that you are more attached, and that will destroy you, that will make you more unhappy life. So if you try to decrease or less involvement in this aspect of, then at least it will help you less give you some time for yourself, time for the family. So this is how you can reduce how to say, too much like a magnetic to attack how to say, magnet that takes the iron, no? And once your attachment attach to everything, you become controlless, you become you cannot help yourself. So if you would make a less involvement that, and then you recognize that there's a certain time to work, this is, I think is to detach totally is very important, which you can decrease the attachment. So for me, decrease attachment means we should make a less involvement into subject which are dominating, that you need that, I need that help, you must do that, do that. So if you try to reduce the involvement, that is the way to make you a little bit free from the. So anyhow, now here, all these factors we call destructive emotion. So what will happen if you have too much attachment, then your mind started thinking, I should do that, I should do that. And then this is the reason that you will never feel satisfaction. You will never feel appreciation with the achievement of the present. Because you always want more and more, you know. Now, more you have, more you really get actually mental problem. And that is we call monkey mind. If you have a business, too much business, your mind thoughts moved all the time. You become restless like monkey, jumping here and there, thinking. And this is how you don't have time for yourself. And so, these kind of people who have what they have made an achievement in their life, more they make achievement, more they become unhappy because they have monkey mind, non-stop thinking about worrying. Now, once you have all these things so much, then what is the consequences? That you get more worry, you have more fear, and it's called fear of losing. Now this fear and worry is number one enemy for your life, not able to enjoy the things that you have. And this worry and the fear is the one that will lose all your energy down. So now that we say that people, it looks very funny when you observe the people. People don't live in the present. Most of the time, people live either in the past or they live in the future. And also, within these two, more people, they go to the future. They live in the future, forgetting about the present. So this is how they destroy the present energy. Because they have a lot of fear about what they call losing. Fear of losing material life, fear of losing family life, fear of losing economic life, professional job, whatever, or then physically, I can get this, I can. So you are full of fear, and that is number one enemy for making your lung too much confused, too much disturbances, and fear and worry is the number one enemy to decrease all your immune system. It's the number one enemy of not able to enjoy or be happy or peaceful, because your mind is always thoughts goes for the future. This will happen, that will happen. So more you think about those subject, it's rather impossible to enjoy the life. Okay, so we have to be a little bit more in the present and think about the positive part of the present, that whatever you have in the present, I think first you have to enjoy or rejoice the things that you have in the present, and this called satisfaction. Appreciate that you are healthy, you are alive, you have this, you have that, so this kind of appreciation, satisfaction is a key energy to be calm down. When you have satisfaction, appreciate, oh my God, I'm so lucky, I'm so fortunate, I have this and this and that. So this is the way you can calm down your lung. Calm down your mind means calm down your lung. When you calm down your lung, all the three and all the other two energy will circulate properly, because they are totally depend on the pervasive lung from the heart chakra, the expansion, we say capture lung. So this is how the circulation move, and the whole system will move in a very pacific way, in a very balanced system, which makes you happy mind and healthy body. If not, you think worry, you have too much monkey-minded, constantly worry, fear, or anger and hatred and frustration. So your lung is completely moving. It's like a storm, and sometimes it can be a huge storm. That means the more the mind is confused or movement, it will influence totally to your lung, and the lung, Sokchen lung disturbance will influence other lung, four lung, and whole thing will confuse their system. So all the circulation will be irregular, or either it's too fast or it will be too slow. The blood and lymphatic systems, then it's called your immune systems are down or disturbed. So I hope it's clear for you what I'm saying, the relation between body and mind. When lung, all the five lungs malfunctioning, with the heart, the throat, everything, then it will provoke a lot of physical disease, which are caused by the mind, and by the mind to the lung, and the lung to the system, and then they attack particular organ or chakra which are more delicate or more fragile. So these are very important to recognize, to understand. So if you, once you really feel it, or you understand that, you recognize how the lung and the mind can influence to your physical energy, and this is the moment you have the possibility to calm down the lung, because you say, now I should be more patient, I have to be happy with what I have achieved in my life, with the material life, with the family life, whatever in the present, to be happy with that. And that happiness feeling, or satisfaction, appreciation, very, very important for your lung energy. And then plus that, of course, you will have a more wisdom mind, or more intelligent mind, or more emotional here, what we called appreciation, satisfaction. But with that you need a loving and a kindness, sense of sharing. Not only I want, I need, no, everybody needs. So people always say, please God help me, this is too much. You say, please help us, all the people, to remain harmony. That looks more like a compassionate feeling than say, God help me. So these things are very important to recognize, which are fundamentally, we all know that, but I repeat here how it will make impact on the physical energy, lung, then to the blood lymphatic system, how they create so much physical disease. And once the physical disease get problem, once the physical will develop disease, that means again it will disturb the whole system of circulation, blood and lymphatic and organic function, chakra function. Then again it will go back to the lung, and this lung will go back to the mind, and your mind suffer. For example, if you have heart palpitation, the first cause is your mind. Now it came to the physiological in the functioning, and when your heart started beating, then you get nervous, you get anguish, and then you have fear, or maybe I get heart attack. So here then again your mind get problem. That is called influence each other, impact each other. So these things, please try to understand what I'm sharing here. And then another reason what makes the lung problem, this is a very short example. I can talk for, I said, months to make everything very clear, but this is just a simple example. Then another reason is the alimentation. So alimentation play a very important role. Now you say that the nature of the lung is light, it's a subtle, so it's a mobile. So logically, what you need something is heavy and rich things that will calm down the lung. So basically, most of the people who have this high sensibility of emotional or very fragile energy very easily get exhausted, very easily get tired, very easily become emotionally imbalanced. Sometimes so happy, excited, and there's a little things not going well, you get, oh my God, these are the how to say, nature of the lung. So now calm down this lung. You have to be a very strong physical energy. Now for physical energy, sung, we say lu sung. Sung means the inner strength, power of the body is fully dependent on food. Now, again, in the food, there are different qualities of food. All food are not same. Some food have also like a quality like lung, very light, no energetic. So those kind of food, if you depend too much, your body will not have enough energy. So your body became very light and very fragile or very sensitive. Then lung can easily get disturbed. So if your body is strong, healthy because of eating good food which have a character of rich, heavy, oily, all these things will calm down the lung because lung is light. So we have nowadays very popularly that is very good in one side that people practice a lot about the vegetarian food and the bacon. It's absolutely good. We think about the suffering of the animal. But if you are vegetarian or vegan, it's good. But your body needs energy, but you must find the alternative proteins that will keep your lung calm. Otherwise, you can get a lot of lung problems. So it's very important that you really look for alternative proteins if you are vegetarian. Those who eat meat or fish or white or red meat, whatever, that are the ones that will calm down the lung. But there are many people who don't want to eat meat or who are vegetarian or vegan. Then you have to be very careful not to depend only on vegetable or rice or bread. I don't think it's sufficient because we use too much our energy with the thoughts. Worry, fear, anguish, nervous, anxiety. So it takes a lot of your energy. I always tell my students, not eating for 1 week, you don't lose too much energy. But if you worry for 7 hours, with full of fear and worry, within 7 hours or 10 hours or 24 hours, your energy will drop down very much. So this is how mind plays important role. If you don't eat, there are some people, they make a fasting for 2 weeks, 1 week, they don't lose much energy down. But if you have emotionally or psychologically, you have fear, worry, all these kind of things, you cannot sleep well, insomnia, they go down, their energy very down. So please try to understand that. If you are vegetarian, I will request you, please be a good vegetarian and look for all the substitute or other alternative food that will give you support as a protein, like for example nuts, cheese, butter, oil. These are very important for the lung. Of course, if you eat too much, then it will make another problem, which we call TIBA. But you need this kind of protein if you are vegetarian, if you are not eating meat. Or even some people, they don't eat eggs. So these are very important to recognize that certain food are very, very important. Only to be vegetarian, eating only vegetable, rice, or what the people here call, I eat tofu. Tofu has not energy that can substitute the rich proteins. Okay, so these are very important and other factors that will cause problems. And then insufficient sleep, not sleeping enough, or irregular sleeping is another factor that will cause a lot of lung problems. And disturb sleep. So sleeping is a very, very important for a healthy mind and body, because during the sleep you close all the doors of your sensorial organs. So you don't conceive, or you don't receive any information that will disturb your mind. So sleeping is essential. It's called mental rest, the period of timing for resting your mind, so it doesn't disturb your energy. If you're awake, your mind is always moving, thinking, and you cannot rest. So sleeping is very important, minimum 8 hours a day. It's essential and on a regular basis. Otherwise, irregular sleeping or insufficient sleeping will make you a lot of lung problem, and gradually it will develop in the future many problems. So be conscious about that and make yourself a discipline in the life that you must sleep regularly on time. Okay, so these are another things. And now, beside the emotional part, of course there are other many reasons. We have no time. What are the causes? And then some people, of course, the main reason is our emotional thought because of the daily life problem, this problem, that problem. So I call it unending human problems. Our problem will never end. But somehow we give too much importance to do that, and we dedicate all our energy for thinking about the problem and going after the problem, and that is how we get emotional problem and then physical problem. Now there are certain factors which are nothing to do with your emotional life, but some people, they purposely force their mind, think too much, worry too much for small things. If you have bad weather, the whole day you say, oh, bad weather, bad weather. So there are many stupid things we create unnecessarily. So even including the meditation, if you don't know the proper way to do the meditation also makes lung disturbances. And that I know because I met many people who got lung problem. We call sok lung, tak lung disease due to improper technique or wrong method of meditation, which disturb the main central channel lung, which moves in a different direction or which has been completely disturbed, causes a lot of mental problem. Okay, so till next, wish you all again a good health, stay safe, and take all the precautions essential to prevent yourself not have this kind of problem related with the virus. And then I wish everybody to remain healthy. May Medicine Buddha bless everybody in the world to be healthy and to get free from this virus problem rapidly as soon as possible. Okay, Tashi Delek, take care.